Hi Virgo, this is your reading for the week of March 24th. So the image that I first got as I was pulling your cards was of a dog coming up out of the ocean and shaking itself and shaking off all the water. And as it shook off all the water, it became human. And it gradually transformed into a human figure. And the sense that I'm getting with that, it was that shake. You know how dogs do that? There's just such a sense of freedom and liberation as they're doing that. And it's just almost like a joy of this lightning as they move this water off themselves. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, oh, that's fascinating because, of course, we associate water with emotion. And I'm associating dog with loyalty here. And this is literally what I'm picking up. And that is the feeling as I move through this is that it seems to me that for some of the Virgo collective here, one of the things that's happening is you've been able to let go of something that's been holding you back in terms of blame, and that you're now more in this evolved state of forgiveness where you're able to see other people's virtues for what they are and not call them wrong or bad for not sharing yours or what your standards or what your rules are. Okay? And it feels to me that that's a part of you having shaken off what I will call lower emotions and moving into a higher awareness of the fact that we are all here to learn and to grow, and that in the process of things, we are going to have different concepts of good and bad, right and wrong. We're not always going to be sure about things, and that as it happens, sometimes we will cause pain, okay, to each other, and that is a function of life, and that we don't have to take it personally. Now, you're also being told here, for those of you who haven't done that yet, but are in the process of doing it or need to do it, that part of forgiveness very often is looking at our cognitive distortions. So what weight are we putting on things that we mentally are putting on that aren't there? How many things are we stating or assuming are facts that are not facts? So the classic example that I use is, I have nothing to wear. Well, yes, I have a lot of clothes to wear, but I just don't happen to want to wear the ones I've got today. Or they don't suit this situation. I don't have any ball gowns, for example, and I need a ball gown. So I have nothing to wear to the ball, but I do have a lot of clothes. So what you're being asked to do is look, if you're having difficulty with forgiveness, with letting something go, because you are judging somebody as having done something hurtful or bad, look at how you're describing the situation. Were they always X, Y, Z? Or was it just sometimes? Were they really, for example, selfish and uncaring? Or did they just set a boundary because you weren't honoring something or you were pushing it away that was bad for them? Right? So what's your role in that? And basically to allow yourself to take a new view of things. Because very often it's like we get so entrenched in our story about a situation that we stop questioning our interpretation of it. We lose touch with our feelings about it. We can come from this offended place where we create this story and this list of grievances. But when we actually step back and allow it to be different, we allow ourselves to imagine it to be different. That's very often when we go, oh my gosh, why was I holding on to that for so long? Okay? And part of that, you've got to remember that whatever this is about in terms of your personal life, relationships that are going on for you, ultimately, This is about you growing towards your inner life, deeper to a deeper place in yourself. This is about you understanding things at a much deeper level. It's that shaking off of the water. It's the not being the dog, but growing into the human. And I know some people would say dogs are better. Cats maybe too. However, in terms of consciousness, evolution of consciousness, theoretically, humans have more of them, more of it. But there's something else that I want to say, and it might be very specific to just some of you. But because it's a dog and dogs are known for loyalty and sticking around even though they've, not always been treated, that idea that a dog will be loyal even to somebody who doesn't treat them well. What I would ask you to do, for those of you who are looking at this from that perspective, check in to see if there is a situation where you have been loyal in a way where you have not been, where it's not being reciprocated. And that might be part of what you're unraveling now. And that in terms of learning how to forgive and understand in that situation, that's going to be really, really powerful for you to look at your cognitive distortions and to look at what you think is good. And I'm going to say, I'm hesitating because it's not just good, you can call something bad when it's not bad, it's just not good for you. So look at that as well in terms of your cognitive distortions, okay? Because once you start letting go of that and you really can't forgive, forgiveness releases everything. True forgiveness releases you from the old stories and sets you free. Just the same way that dog coming out of the water and shaking the water off sets the dog free in that way, in that beautiful way. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with that. Virgo, take care.